There can be only one podcast, and may it be the Prince of the Universe. Hi, folks, I'm Matt.
And I'm Wes.
So, last week, after it was all said and done, it wasn't all said and done, you said. There was a few things you also wanted to add about the Batman, which I thought were good, which is why we're going to spend a few minutes here to talk about it.
So this is the director's cut.
This is the director's cut, the extra bonus scene that you missed. So the first thing I want you to talk about is Nirvana.
Yeah, I think that was something we didn't talk about. I thought that Something in the Way was a perfect song for the movie, and I thought it really connected a lot of demographics, because I'm 44, and I think a lot of
singing along with it too.
Yeah, I think that it just really connected the emotional heaviness of what that movie was all about.
Okay, so you really liked that song. That was a good theme song.
Yeah, I thought that it was a perfect song.
Okay, I enjoyed the song.
And I thought it was, everything. I thought it was just very well done, and I thought that it was very smart to take an iconic pop culture character and kind of weave that into Batman mythology.
Got it. Okay.
Because Bruce Wayne, in this vision or version or whatever you want to say, is extremely tortured.
Right. Okay. All right. And then the second thing you said, I said that we got to get you back on here to say this, was the movie as a whole, why you enjoyed it. Is that the right way to define it?
Well, yeah, we said what was it that you disliked the most? This is a big difference,
because I mentioned this, but you put it better. Go ahead.
Right. We were talking about ranking the Batman movies and what Matt enjoyed most.
Well, I talked about my love for the Tim Burton movies.
Right. And okay. I love the Tim Burton movies too.
You do too. You've ranked them high. But go ahead.
What I enjoyed about Batman Returns was the exact opposite about what I enjoyed about the Batman. Where Batman Returns was such a great comic book movie to me.
Yes. This
was such a great movie with a comic book character.
Yes.
So that was it.
Yes, and that was the difference. But I thought that was well said.
Thanks.
So you defined the two movies there.
Yeah, I think that it kind of covered all the bases.
Yeah. Okay, good deal. Hey, we're going to keep talking about superhero movies. Actually, a handful. I don't know how many you have. I thought of a few. Comic book characters that have not received a movie yet. Now, we're not counting TV shows, so if someone gets on and goes, Matt, they were on a TV show early. I don't care about TV shows. We're talking about movies. Now, in Marvel, if you have a Marvel character listed there, I'm going to be shocked because I didn't have anyone Marvel.
I do. I have two.
Oh, my.
Well, actually, three. And
oh, my Lanta.
And I was able to leverage our good friend Brandon and Heath Futch for their insights.
Oh, okay.
I went to the bullpen.
Brandon would have been a good choice for this.
Yeah.
Because Brandon knows. See, I didn't dig much from the big two. In fact,
okay.
I went third party on all but one.
So you went the indie route.
I did.
Okay.
Because I thought there were some good indie comic book characters that deserve their own movie.
Right.
All right. So, do you want to start? Do you want me to start? I'll start because one of mine is unknown to everyone.
Okay.
These are not in any order, just how I wrote them down. There was an independent comic book called Scud, the Disposable Assassin. An interesting comic book that my brother read back in the day, where if you put a quarter, it was back in the day where they had vending machines of assassin droids, and if you put your money in there, you told it who you wanted to assassinate, and they go off and assassinate it, and then they would self-explode. Well, this particular assassin droid is about to go off and kill the person he's assigned to kill, but then he looks in the mirror, and on his back it says, please keep a safe distance. This product will explode once target is acquired. And he goes, what? And so the droid does not want to die, so he decides not to kill this person. Kind of goes against his programming. Mm-hmm. And then you have this big adventure where people are trying to get the droid, and his programming wasn't meant to last this long, so he's kind of losing a few circuits. He's got to get some. He goes crazy for a little while because his circuits are wearing down. He has to get new ones, and it's just an interesting story that they did complete the whole storyline for it. And I thought that's actually fun. I'd love to see a movie about that. I don't think it's like Tank Girl. No one would know what it was. Not even know if it was a comic book movie.
Right? Yeah, that was a reach when that came out.
That was so left field, out
Yeah.
of left field. But so Scud is my out of left field, because out of all these, he's probably, he's easily the least known character out of all of them. But
I thought you were going to say the Flaming Carrot.
No.
Oh, okay.
Or what Milk and what were those guys' names? Milk and I can't remember what their names.
I don't know. Flaming Carrot was all I had. Sorry, that was as indie as I could remember
That's pretty indie.
back in the
Milk
day.
and Cheese.
I remember Milk and Cheese.
Yeah, that's who they were. All right, go ahead.
Okay.
They're not one of my picks.
This was Brandon's, but I agree. This is a character that has been involved in Marvel since the get-go of, what was Marvel? Capital Comics or something back in the day?
Okay, yes. Is this a villain?
No, it's Namor, the Submariner.
Okay. All right. No, that's a good one. That's a big one, actually, that they have not done.
Avengers, Defenders. He's been in everything. He's had miniseries. He's had run-ins with everybody.
But he's never been on the big screen.
Right. In any form.
True.
Not even a cameo, any type thing.
I didn't think about villains. Dang. Do you have any villains on there?
I don't think so.
Okay. We could come back and do this for villains, too, because I just thought of a villain.
Okay.
I could probably think of a few more, but go ahead.
Anyway, I'm just saying...
So, Namor.
Yeah, and the reason being other than... He's a character that's been around for so long, and no one has even really touched it.
That's true. Why is that? Do you think it's the Aquaman problem, that there just be a lack of interest? Namor is more popular than Aquaman, I would argue.
Well...
That comic book, he's more... Well, he was more before the Aquaman movie.
Right.
He was probably a more well-known character. Is that fair to say?
I agree. Like I don't look at the Namor character quite the same way I do as Aquaman.
I'm just saying an underwater.
Yeah,
hero.
like this
that was the match I was making there.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like I think that
no, he doesn't talk to fish.
Yeah, I just don't think that the way he was and granted, once again, we don't have a lot of media to look at other than comics with him.
It's funny because if Fantastic Four wouldn't have failed so many times and would have gotten sequels, there's a good chance he probably would have been in one of those.
Right. I mean, he was a major player early in Fantastic Four run.
Right.
Early in Avengers run.
Yeah.
He was in the first Defenders team. He was in the Invaders. All this different stuff.
Yeah.
So he has such a rich history.
Yeah.
Yet no one has really touched it. So I think that as far as like a Marvel property, and I'm not saying necessarily it's a movie, but I definitely think there's something there to be creative with. So as far as like, I think that's a miss that they could look into.
Absolutely. Good pick.
Okay.
Good pick. Another one. I'm going to go to old Wildstorm days and say Gen 13. I was a big Gen 13 fan back in the day, and kids growing up getting their superpowers, triggered and becoming this impromptu superhero team as they bust out of the thing is a great story.
Yeah.
And I know it got a failed TV.
It did have a cartoon. Well, it had a cartoon for sure.
It did have a cartoon. Yeah, it did. But I would have liked to have seen out of all the, and I don't have any more Wildstorm picks, even though I could make more Wildstorm picks.
Don't be showing off now.
No. I'm just saying that Wildcats, Wetworks, Team 7 even. I'd love to see Team 7. Because I was a big Wildstorm fan back in the day. But out of all those, if I'm being, I want to be a little bit more particular.
Right.
And so I'm picking Gen 13 because I was a huge fan back in the day, and I still think that's an interesting story.
Well, doesn't DC own all of that? So now
DC
that's
owns
under
the
Discovery Network or whatever they are now?
I don't think they're doing anything with them. I think they did at first when they got them and then realized we don't need them. We have Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, all these other characters, Green Lantern, so let's just dump these. I don't know, I'm not reading.
But to me, that's always the missed opportunity. Instead of going over, and I know we talked about this in Batman, of so many key people were like, ooh, I want to run with Batman. Mm-hmm. It's almost like if you want to be creative, it's like, man, let me take something that I can kind of do something with.
Oh, yeah.
Take some ownership of and make it my own. And I think that's an attractive. To me, if I had the creative juices for that, I would rather delve into that.
Yeah. No, absolutely. What's another one?
Okay,
I
so
can't believe you have 3 Marvel people. I can't believe I forgot about Namor, though.
okay, so here is this may get disqualified. So here's a major character that has only been a part of a movie, but their origin is pretty grand, and have also been in a lot of team-driven books, and that being Silver Surfer.
He was in a movie.
Right. He was a big character in the Fantastic Four number 2.
Whatever it was, yeah.
Yeah. But I think that if you could do that with a more modern Marvel eye, in a more cosmic way, kind of like Guardians of the Galaxy, this is coming from Heath Fudge too.
Right.
I think there's some meat on the bone to do something with that versus just being part of a
and I would
sequel.
I would put that in the category of, superheroes that deserve a second shot.
Right, and that was part of what I was going to ask about that.
But he was a major player in the second movie.
Okay.
I mean, so no, I wouldn't count that.
Okay.
But that's fine. I agree. They could have done him a lot better and could have had his own movie.
Right.
And again, if Fantastic Four hadn't been a tremendous flop back then, I wonder after the third movie if Silver Surfer would have gotten his own spinoff. I bet he would have. Why not? If you have the rights, work it.
Right.
So, but okay, that's fine.
I just think with, like I said, and Heath had a pretty valid point. I just thought when they took Guardians of the Galaxy.
No, I agree.
I feel like they could do something with that with Silver Surfer in a pretty creative way. We have a lot more
talented writing and creative people on that side now than we did back then.
Correct.
Yeah, that's true. One of mine is, and I don't know if this is indie now that I think about it. This may be one of the big ones, but it doesn't involve any of the big heroes. What was Astro City? Who did Astro City?
I know that Alex Ross did all the art.
Yeah, he did all the artwork, but I can't remember. Is that a DC Marvel thing? No, because Marvel had Marvels.
Yeah.
So I don't know if this was a DC thing or an independent. I want to say it was independent, but I can't remember.
It was more Image, I thought.
Was it Image? Okay. I love Astro City.
Yeah.
I thought it was excellent. Excellent. It surrounds the humans, and the superheroes are the side characters.
Right.
And so what happens in the superhero world, we're seeing it from the human's perspective, and it's unbelievably good.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes we're seeing it from the hero's perspective too, but a different angle of it.
Yeah.
Like a character who was a cartoon who had a magic wizard hit the screen right as he was watching it, and up popped the cartoon, and now he's a cartoon lion who's now a superhero, but now he's pretty lame and no one wants to talk to him anymore. He doesn't really have, he has the ability to act like a cartoon, like take a bunch of hits and keep on, just pull himself back together. But he's laughed at from a lot of people. The other one, which I thought was probably the best, it's just surrounding a man the whole time. He wakes up in the morning. He said, "Something's different. Something's wrong with my life," and he goes through this entire day. Something is wrong. There should be someone in my house. There isn't. It's just me. I'm, not married, don't have kids. Well, then it turns out a superhero appears before him and says, "Hey, look, I'm sorry. There was a world crisis. One of those alternate reality crisis events, and your family did not make it into this world. You don't belong in this world. I have to take you out to your alternate." And so I was like, "Whoa, that was the whole thing." And it was the last few pages where the superhero explained that,
right?
And we're sorry, but we couldn't get everything perfect, and your family was one of them,
right?
And I thought that's great.
Yeah.
It had so many great ideas for stories. How would you make a movie about that? I'm not sure, but they did well with the first Sin City, which what I mean is they can capture I thought the first Sin City was excellent because I
did too.
They captured.
I didn't think Sin City 2 was as bad as people thought it was.
It's not as bad. No, it's a step down, but it's not as bad. I agree.
Right.
No, I agree. But I thought when I was watching Sin City, I was like, oh my goodness, they took the comic book and made it into, this is great.
Yeah.
It's great stuff.
Yeah, I think that's an overlooked comic book movie.
It was fantastic. And I'm not really that big of a Sin City fan. I mean, I read it, but I didn't think, they're going to make a movie. I never said that.
Right.
But I thought the movie was brilliant. So seeing that tells me that if put in the right hands, they could make an Astro City. Because Astro City is mainly a bunch of individual, it's not an overarching story. It's just individual stories.
That's almost like, we're talking about movies, but it's almost like if we can't make a movie, is this a streaming
you could make it a TV show, and that would actually be kind of cheap because it's not from the eyes of the superheroes a lot of times.
Right. It's almost like a Black Mirror self-contained stories.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Yeah.
It'd probably make a better TV series. I'll give you that. Okay, so you threw out my Silver Surfer. Yeah, I threw out your Silver Surfer. You threw out my Astro City. Go.
That's what friendships are about. Is here's your idea and it sucks.
Hey,
or maybe that's just personal relationships overall. So this is a callback to Heath Futch, since he wanted his name mentioned 6 times.
Okay. You getting paid for this?
No, he's just really sleepy.
Oh, okay.
He thinks Tomb of Dracula.
Wow.
Out of the Marvel.
Okay, he went Marvel again.
Again. He feels like that, and I said, why Tomb of Dracula? And Heath said, well, it's horror, and it's Dracula.
Okay, so here's the deal with that. That's true. Tomb of Dracula, the Marvel comic book.
Yes.
Was the 70s?
Yes.
One. Okay, that has not been made into a movie.
Correct.
It never will be because Dracula's public domain and they made 1 billion Dracula movies.
Correct.
How would my question to Heath Futch, I'll help you out in your quota.
Thank you.
My question to him would be, how would this be any different from a regular Dracula? Because it was just Dracula. I mean, stories of Dracula.
Right.
But there wasn't anything different about him.
Well, and once again, that's why I asked for more of this, and he just said
because
horror and
Dracula.
Yeah, so
good for him.
That's why he randomly does podcasts. He's a man of few words. But I think that he was trying to take maybe the 70s. You know, comics in the 70s are drastically different. And that's how it is, the decades of them.
Oh,
but
yeah.
those horror comics from the 70s were pretty...
Oh, yeah. 60s and 70s were, yeah.
Yeah.
They were gory.
Yeah. So I think that was more of the...
That's what brought about the comic code.
Correct.
Yeah.
Well, I think that was the drug thing, wasn't it? Like...
Oh, maybe so.
Yeah.
I thought it was all the horror.
I thought it was Green Arrow and the kid using drugs.
Oh, okay. Maybe. I don't know. But they're telling him not to do drugs. But
right, yeah. When drugs are bad.
So, yeah. That was fun. Remember those good old days. All right. But anyway. Okay, so Tomb of Dracula.
Tomb of Dracula.
Are these your picks or Heath and
these are Heath and Brandon's. And I was trying to kind of get their feel because they're...
Do you agree with Tomb of Dracula?
Well, and that's kind of why I asked. I mean, to me, the vampire genre, you know, it's a genre in its own. So if you take, it's like Blade being a comic book vampire type tie-in, like what would set Tomb of Dracula apart. And since Vincent Price couldn't make the podcast tonight, we can't go to him and get his feeling on this.
Wow.
Yeah, so...
or Bela Lugosi.
Right.
Okay.
So, anyway.
Good. Or Eddie Murphy.
You got me on that one.
Wasn't he vampire in Brooklyn?
He was, yes. Yeah. Once again, when you're too big for your britches, as they say in the South.
Okay, so too big to fail was not true in that case. All right. My number 2, which well, not number 2, my next one I have here. They're not in any order. Is one that I think you may have. Do you have Nightwing on there?
I don't.
I think he's the most popular DC. I didn't have anyone else DC on here because I thought they covered all the bases. Sure, there's smaller, B, C characters they haven't done yet, but Nightwing to me is an A-lister in a way.
I agree.
And he has never been put in a movie in Bloodhaven. I think that'd be awesome. Bring in some second-rate Batman villains. You wouldn't have Batman face, but, the ventriloquist. They already did one with Black Mask. But, someone like that you could have him go up against. Not someone epic. It doesn't have to be the Joker. And it shouldn't be the Joker.
Right.
It should be someone smaller. And so I think that'd be a lot of fun. But Nightwing is just great. I think he's super popular. And that no one... I mean, yes, I know the TV series did Nightwing. What was the stupid show? Teen Titans. Geez, if you watch it for 3 excruciating seasons, he puts on the costume at the end of 3. It's not worth it.
Well, when you catch up to it, it's not quite as bad. But
okay, I gave up.
Right,
I gave up. But
your hate is so strong.
But
you're such a Sith
who I
Lord.
love from that series? Jason Todd. I thought Jason Todd was great.
Yeah,
reckless, snotty kid, bratty, but perfect because he was good and he did have some good in him. But kind of a brat. I thought they played him just right.
Really? Because that's interesting because of how much you poo-pooed on emo Batman.
Jason Todd is supposed to be
right
bratty and brash.
Okay, well, Bruce Wayne is stunned because...
No.
Okay.
No.
Maybe this is a different podcast we're talking about.
So. All right, go to your next one then.
No, I agree with Nightwing. I think Nightwing's a huge miss.
That's a huge miss. Especially after this long. I mean, TV, small screen they brought him on, but he's a big screen character.
Yeah, totally.
And the reason why maybe is because no one wants to bring Robin back to movies. And in a way, Robin could, in a trilogy, if you had that's what I'm saying, the next reboot of Batman should be just Batman and Robin. Not just Batman and Robin, it's something different. Give us the two working together. And then by the end of the third movie, he's Nightwing.
Well, and I think that the way you would have to do it is, that's the biggest challenge of how you do it, because the Dick Grayson Robin story, how do you don't want to speed that up, because that's what they tried to do in Batman and Robin, and it was just...
You have to give it time, and I think 3 movies, by the third movie you could... If you introduced him in the first one, like they're already a partner.
Just don't make all movies 3 hours.
Yeah, don't show please, but don't show the origin of Robin.
We gotta pee.
Don't give me a Robin origin. Just it's Batman and Robin out in Gotham fighting crime.
Yeah,
and that's how we have to start. And then
do your research. Give the consumer their ability to do their research.
Yeah. Well, like they have been with the other superheroes.
Yeah, we're vested.
Robin
we're paying
doesn't
this.
need an origin. Most people know how he became Robin. And I mean, if they want to mention it as a one line in the movie, I'm fine with that too. Like, ever since your parents died, you've been with me this whole time. And blah blah. I get that. They could do that, but at the same time, if you introduce him at the very first movie, then over the course of 3 movies, you could conceivably have him in the third movie as Nightwing. As he's growing up and Batman's getting a new, Robin. Maybe a Tim Drake. Who knows? But the thing is, though, Nightwing is a huge miss by DC, especially after this long. Okay.
No, I agree with that.
Go ahead. What's next? Brandon didn't say Nightwing?
No, he did not.
Wow, shame on him.
This is my last pick, and then I was going to talk which character needed a reboot the most that they could do the best.
Go ahead, give me your last. I got one more too.
Okay, Spectra from DC.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah,
wow. That's kind of shocking. You think he would? I mean, obviously, with the good writer, anyone would hold their own movie.
Right, and I think it's just if you do it, and I think with DC trying to get some... Well, okay, well...
Oh, come on, get out of here.
If this new corporate shakeup that they're doing and trying to put someone in to kind of herd these cats... DC has these different universes and have had a Vertigo universe and stuff, but I just think that, and this is a pick from someone who we can't name again, their character is pretty interesting.
Sure. No, okay. I agree.
And I think the visual side of what they could make that look like would be pretty cool. I think that there's a merchandising look of things, and I think Spectra would be... And I think it's kind of like how Marvel did with Moon Knight.
You have a lot of mystical, Zatara, Dead Man,
Dead Man was honorable pick, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, obviously, if you're choosing the Spectra. Then yeah. Okay. No, I mean, that's fine.
I just think the visual side of that book, and once again, like... the cosmic-y, well, not really cosmic-y.
I never read the comic book. He just appeared in the big crossovers, the DC Crisis.
Right.
That's where I know him from.
Right.
And it seems like, and I don't know because I didn't read the comic book, but it seems like he was a bunch of individual comic books where he kind of helps one person or judges one person or shows one person. That's what he does, right?
Yeah, he's very much not the main...
So he doesn't really have an arch villain. I'm sure he does. I just don't know who it is.
Right. Yeah, I don't think...
So would that make a good movie? Again, I'm going to ask you, would that make a better TV show?
Well, possibly because of when we were talking about this, I was thinking of Moon Knight because of the Marvel series, how they made that work or not work, and everybody can kind of give their own opinion. But the visuals of Moon Knight, the character...
are very similar to...
And I thought that the show visually looked great. Sorry.
That's a great way to say it. I hated that show.
No, I'm not saying I
despised
hated that show.
I despised the show. I thought Moon Knight looked great. That was the number one thing from Marvel's Phase 2 I was looking forward to, and it was
No, I'm not saying
a
that.
big cow patty for me. But anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, Spectre. My next one,
The highlight of that show to me was Oscar Isaac's hair, but,
boy.
we'll save that for something else.
My last one I'm going to pick is one of my favorite ones by Jeff Smith, Bone. I love Bone. I love the story of Bone. We were selling these comic books.
I remember that.
Day.
Yeah.
I had no idea. I didn't buy one of those comic books. It looks stupid.
Right.
And Bruce was the one that had me read it. I bought my own copy and everything he's made afterwards in the Bone universe. Read them at least 3 times now. Going to read it again sooner rather than later. I think that story is just wonderful. It's like a comic book version of Lord of the Rings in a way, just meaning some epic story. And you'd have to do it over at least 3 movies or something.
Right.
But, I mean, I think it would be huge. I think it'd be huge. Playing the characters right, you could do it. Unfortunately, they'd have to be CGI. But, I mean, that's because they have a cartoony look and everyone else is more realistically drawn.
Right.
Which I'm fine with that, too. But I would love to see Bone on the big screen. I think, and like I said, when we were selling them, I thought it looked like garbage. I wouldn't even read it. Though people were like, "Oh no, it's really good." I was like, "Yeah, whatever." So is Daffy Duck comic books, I'm sure. But
get out of here, kids.
I was wrong on that. I love Bone, and that was the first one I thought of when I told you this would be the topic.
Right. No. And I think that's a totally different. I strictly really looked at this from a.
No, you've got a great list.
The DC, what they're trying to. They're stopping and starting again, and then with Marvel trying to find a way, like, how do we build upon this monopoly board of empire we have?
Well, Namor, and shocking that he wasn't mentioned in whatever phase they're in now. He's bigger than Shang-Chi. He's bigger.
Well, his history is definitely there. So there's got to be a reason why.
I don't know why. Did they not own the right? Well, no, because they got Fantastic Four, right?
Right. Yeah.
They got the rights now.
They have to.
That's so weird. Done
that's the only thing.
Over all these other Jokers they've done. That's so odd. I did. That's a great pick.
Oh, we didn't even talk about the Joker movie in our DC Batman episode, by the way.
What about it?
It was a pretty incredible movie.
Well, it's not a Batman movie.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying it's a Batman. Well, it has a Bruce Wayne cameo in it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, like he's a 10-year-old boy. And
right. And
Joker's a 40-year-old man.
We're all about minutia here. We've got to make sure everything kind of...
So when Batman grows up to be a man, Joker will be 68.
When Batman grows up to be a man.
Yeah, with Bruce Wayne. When 10-year-old Bruce Wayne grows up to be 25.
Right.
40-something-year-old Joker will be 60. Good. I'm glad we have that image there.
You're so angry.
All right. Anyway, a lot of people love the Joker movie. I was like, we're just throwing out anything and hoping something sticks. It was fine. But like I said, it's better than the Batman. But anyway, okay. So what's your who needs a reboot? Is that what you said?
Yes.
Yeah. Who needs a reboot?
Green Lantern.
Oh, obviously, for sure. Who do you have someone in mind who would play him?
I would say Robert Pattinson, but he's just in my dreams.
Okay. So no one.
No one.
Okay. That's fine. No, Green Lantern's a huge character. They've avoided him like the plague for some reason. Because I'm really shocked that Justice League didn't bring him in some way, shape, fashion, or form.
Well, I think it's good they didn't because they did too much anyway.
Well, no, that's true, but I'm just surprised they didn't with all the big characters they had.
Yeah.
They're going to put Martian Manhunter in it, but not. Green Lantern's a bit more important than Martian Manhunter. That was the Snyder cut that he was in, which was another 3.5 hours waste of my time. It's like...
You've wasted so much time, and then we're taking free time and talking about all the time we've wasted.
This is more time than watching that again.
This is some old man stuff.
Well, okay. All right, fine. But no, I agree with that. I agree with that pick. I didn't... That's a great topic. I didn't have one who... I'm sure there's someone who... Riddler. There you go. Riddler needs a reboot. Someone needs to do it justice. When Frank Gorshin is the best Riddler out there, you have a problem. Surely someone can play him better. Not to say Frank Gorshin was terrible at it. He was great at it, but It was in the 60s. Someone can get behind and understand the Riddler to play him excellently. 'Cause I think he's written well at least in Hush, and he's hit or miss in some of the Batman comic books, but he can be written well. So, anyway, all right. Good picks. Good picks.
Thank you.
Thank you, the person we may not name, and Brandon.
Yes.
Appreciate that.
The bullpen was leveraged tonight for the
did.
close.
You went to the bullpen.
Yeah.
You got some good ones there.
Yeah.
You got some good, like Tomb of Dracula.
Right, because it's horror and it's Dracula.
We'll see you next time on Princes of the Universe.